Today, victory is mine. Long live the Empire.
What's going on, guys? Alec here with Thrawn Spawns, bringing you guys a deck tech and PQ recap for our most recent local PQ at Dreamers Vault Games in Roseville, Minnesota. I got my boy Brad with me. Say what's up.
What's going on, everybody?
And we've got our resident Vader connoisseur, Vader pilot captain. we got my boy Bill with us. Say what's up to the people, Bill.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
First time on the channel, and for a very exciting reason as well.
Yes.
We're on the leaderboard. Bill's got some points, so we're going to be talking about Bill's run with Vader Pilot Yellow at the PQ. If you like the video, please give the video a like and the channel a subscription. It is free and greatly helps us out. So let's jump right into this. So last Saturday we had the PQ in Roseville, Minnesota. There was 93 players, and I believe the biggest PQ of the weekend, if anyone remembers looking. I believe it was,
Yes.
which is great to see. It was an awesome event. Happy to see a bunch of people out playing games. And spoiler alert, this will not be our only deck tech for top cuts for this PQ. Will be more to come. It was a great weekend for the team, but we're talking about Build today because he did something awesome. So Vader Pilot Yellow. I know the reason why you would be playing Vader, but tell the people, Bill, what brought you to Vader? Why did you want to bring that deck? What was the inspiration behind it?
A couple things. In the past, I like Vader just because it's space and it creates all kinds of icon or tokens. My past play against hard control left me not liking that so much, so tokens help avoid some of that issues. But it's evolved since then, as you'll see as we go along here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as I know, he's been on this. Spoiler to the people, he's been on this leader since it came out. So,
Yep.
if there's anyone that I would have guessed in the state who would make top cut with Vader Yellow, it would be Bill. Yeah. Why don't we jump into the run here? Very exciting run. I know we were all, playing that day and coming back and touching base, and you happened to just come back and say you were breezing through the tournament. So why don't we run through this? What was the round one matchup for you here?
Round one was Maul Blue, and that one it sometimes can be tricky for Vader because it likes to ping units and kill those tokens and those fighters for you. So a little bit that way, but there's enough hit points in here that HP that I can avoid some of that with the regular units. So
Gotcha. Yeah, looks like you got that one 2-0. And then you kind of ran the meta gauntlet of decks your next couple rounds. You went straight into it because your next match was one that I think most people would say is one of the toughest matchups for Vader, which is Boba Lake Country. How did that go?
Well, that one went 3, and yes, that is a tougher matchup for Vader running through it. So the interesting thing is didn't see any the Devastators hit me towards late game in the games. I'm just talking to somebody else who said they were watching this person play later, and they definitely had them in the deck. So I think I got a little bit of luck on my side that way.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Nice. And then Mother Talzin Crystal Claves, that's yellow, right? Talzin
Correct.
yellow?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
And Talzin yellow, actually Talzin's not too bad of a matchup. While it can take out units when the force is there, the way I play the deck a lot of times is a little bit control-y, where I'm removing some of those options by removing some force units, trying to make it where those options aren't available for Talzin to do that damage. So
Gotcha.
that's how on that one rolls through.
And
Okay,
I know with that opponent, he's been playing the Talzin for quite a while too. So I know he's a good pilot on it too. So it's pretty impressive to see two of that too.
Yep, and
So.
he is somebody that we play in our weeklies as well. So I've had some experience playing against him as well.
Right.
So he's a good player, though.
Yeah, great. As opposed to that matchup, then I remember talking to you before going into this round 4, in which you played Obi-Wan Blue, which I don't think we have like no one that plays Obi-Wan in our locals. So
Right.
we like none of us have a lot of testing into that, which we probably should. But I know you were a little nervous, but you heard from the boys. We told you the truth, which is Vader stomps on Obi-Wan, and I heard it was a good match for you.
Yeah, it did go fairly well for me that way. It was a 2-0. Again, the player I played against in the past before, good player. But as you guys told me, and now I'm a believer, the Vader handles that deck nicely. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yep. Probably the freest games of the day for you. I know we were all talking at that point. We're like, all right, Bill's just going to play all the Obi-Wans. He's going to knock them out of making it into the cut. And then
Yeah.
he's going to make it with us, and it'll be a great day.
Yeah.
It kind of happened. Not anymore. Obi-Wans they played, spoiler alert. But and then we come to round 5, in which you played the deck that just took everyone apart that day, which was Chewbacca Blue Splash Base.
Yeah, that was interesting to play. I've played against a Chewbacca before, but it wasn't played quite the same way. And it's pretty weird when you're sitting with 7, 8 resources and they're playing with 2. And at that point in the game. And that one went 3 rounds. And the last round was a round where I think I could have made it last longer, maybe squeaked out a win. But I misplayed and should have played one of my spicier cards in the deck, the Crawler, to do an ambush and kill Chewbacca with it. But I went a different route.
Yeah,
I was expecting them to take an extra play and I would have something else to do. Didn't work
Sure.
that way.
Gotcha. Well, pretty good to have your first loss of the day be in round 5, which means you really only had to win one more to pretty much guarantee your top cut, especially going 4-0 to start off with. So after the Chewie, you played Thrawn Yellow Force, right? Crystal
Correct. Yep.
Caves?
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And really that one it went 3. He took me apart pretty easily in the first game. And that was all due to the legacy run and doubling up on that. So there it was all about in the next 2 games, all about trying to control that ship, trying to take it off the board. So Commandeer became my friend as a part of that process.
Nice. Yeah, that probably feels super great, especially when you then also get to trigger your Vader leader because you swung with their ship. Yeah,
Yes.
great. So that puts you at 5-1 going into round 7. We had 7 rounds of Swiss. So you were of course able to ID your last round, which probably feels good because I know it was a Boba Lake country again.
It was, yes.
Which you probably would way rather just not play into the cut instead of having to play it. So
Right.
Yep.
perfect. And then that gets you into the top cut. I did not check what seed you were going into it.
I believe he was
I was 8.
8 seed.
So I
Yeah.
played
Okay.
the number 1 seed there, yes.
Gotcha. So then your top 8 match was against Rich, who is also a very good friend of ours, local here, and he was playing the infamous Lando Lake Country. And how did those games go?
Well, he 2-0'd me, so it went pretty quick. But the Landos I had avoided all day long, which was really kind of nice for me. It is still a tough matchup for Vader. But the second game was we had a little epic exchange a little deeper into the game. We at 7 resources, I looked at Rich and I said, hey, let's have some fun. And I pulled out Tear the Ship Apart. He didn't have any liberties, which I was hoping to find in the resource row. He did have a light maker in there, which I took. And then 1 or 2 actions later, he commandeered the light maker right back from me. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then the match continued. I ended up not resourcing 1 turn, but ended up with 11 resources at one point. So that game
Oh, wow.
was a grind.
Okay.
Vader doesn't normally like to go that long.
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that you could take Lando though to the grind speaks volumes, especially against a player like Rich,
Yeah.
who ended up finishing third in the tournament. And yeah, so that's, I mean, great games, great run, of course. How does it feel to be on the board? Are we making the run for the invite to Vegas? Are you just adding a bunch of PQs to the end of the season now?
Yeah, I don't think I'm doing that. I've got a few other things going on, but it is neat to get that first top 8 in PQ, and look forward to doing it some more.
Yeah, awesome,
Cool.
sweet.
I think we dive into what he played. I know, like you were talking about, it's a pretty spicy deck. There's a lot of spice. So we're just gonna kind of start off looking at the one drops, going all the way up into your spicy late game.
Perfect.
So the deck is a little bit different than most Vader yellows out there. I would probably venture to say there's nobody that plays it the same way as what I have here.
Mm-hmm.
I have the traditional kind of one drops out there. I've got 2 one-drop ships. They each provide a little bit of something there, where you've got the extra raid with the tokens for the first one. The screeching allows you to negate keywords if you attack first, so you can shut down some restore. You can even shut down hidden potentially with that one. The third one is actually, while it looks kind of spacey, it's actually a ground unit.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing about my Vader deck in the build is it's not quite 50-50 ground and space, but that was my intent with doing this deck, to avoid things like hyperspace disaster and completely taking you out of a game. Also, depending on how my opponent's playing, I can shift one way or another, and obviously card draw plays into that.
Yeah.
Then after that, I get into the Canyon Runner, the Speeder, which allows you to, if you have the initiative, I play that one first. So the next turn, you can shut down 2 damage coming at you, and sometimes you can take out a unit and it still survives with that kind of approach. Kind of flipping to the next one, Speeder as well. This one I've been playing in my deck a lot longer because it's been out longer. But this one is when my opponent has initiative, they play on the ground. I can ambush right in. I can use the Vader ability and create a TIE fighter right away on turn 1 with it, which is kind of unique. Even if I lose the Speeder, if I can take out the opponent and have that TIE fighter going in turn 2, that can start the
Mm-hmm.
damage train a little bit.
Nice. Yeah, that Canyon Runner, the 1/4, is just even more spicy because a lot of people would slot in like the Republic Y-Wing, or I can't remember what the villain only 1/1 raid one is.
Oh, right.
The the Sith, whatever it's called. But you chose to do the 1/4 on the ground to align with your ground presence. So yeah, even and 1/4, that's probably like the best stats of any one drop that Vader could play, right? I can't even think of one that has better
Yeah.
stats than 1/4.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then, again, on the next turn, you can attack with it. It'll generally survive
Yep.
as well. And you start creating tokens or TIE fighters at that
Yeah.
point.
Nice.
Nice.
Then rolling on further into the 3 drops, there's a lot of 3 drops in this deck. The next one, again, another ground unit Speeder. This one allows you to create a token or a credit. And the nice thing with that is now you can start advancing some of these other ships that come out. You can play them a little bit sooner. Or when you get to 5 resources and a credit, you can play 2 3 drops and start expanding the board out in that right
Mm-hmm.
way before Vader even comes out. So
Gotcha.
again, more targets to drop Vader on when you're flipping Vader out. So, and he's also, all of them, again, ground presence. A lot of people don't expect that with a Vader deck. That can kind of catch people off guard a little bit as well when you're playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting to think of like, what if you go into the mirror, right? And the Vader mirrors are usually kind of just horrible because you're just trading units back and forth, and then one person gets the craving power and one person gets the beguile or whatever. But if you make yours able to just avoid space in the mirror, and you can just go ground and flip Vader on one of these ground vehicles, I would assume that probably goes pretty well in your favor. I don't know. I mean, you didn't play any mirrors on Saturday, but I'm sure you've played some in the past, and I bet that's a pretty safe line to follow.
Yeah, it is because you still create TIE fighters, so you can do a little bit in space if you want. But like you said, with craving power, that still comes out. You can still drop it on a ground unit, take out something in space if there's something
Yeah.
a little bit nastier out there.
Nice.
Then going on into the row here, the second row, it's you got the skirmishing out there, which again, it's out there to start now exhausting enemy units, taking turns away, damage away from getting hit. Obviously requires another space unit, so that's you gotta be a little bit careful that way. The Eager Escort, that's kind of a removal card more than anything. Playing that to remove something off of space as well. The lurking snub fighter, that one's a plot card that generally goes down in the resource row early on.
Yeah.
Just it's there when Vader flips, so you can neutralize some um, effects or possibilities where somebody's got lightsabers on Lando or something like that. You can come back and get it. So, yep.
Mhm.
The haulers, I've only got 2 of those in here. When I play the haulers, they're a little bit of a hit and miss thing for me, just because yes, they can ramp up the damage. Thing is, they also can get used against you. So it's just kind of a feel for the game and how things are going. Also in the deck here, you see Beguile, so obviously you can bounce one back if you need to. So there's some options that way. And then there you got Victor Leader, staple of the
Yeah.
deck. I mean, it's
Yep.
you just got to have that in the deck. So
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Makes sense. And then the next staple of the deck.
the clone, yeah, the clone combat squadron. That's the one that you build up, and with that big, hopefully a big board, you've got all kinds of damage coming with that guy.
Yeah.
And one thing I've learned through my time playing is trying not to play it on resource 4 when everybody expects it. Maybe
Sure.
5 makes a little more sense. And sometimes even within this deck, if I'm going a little bit more ground, I don't play it at all. Sometimes I get to even resource because I'm going a different direction
Yeah.
with the hand.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point because I think a lot of people who play Vader might be kind of like pigeonholed into thinking, "Oh, I need to play the clone combat and make it as big as possible."
All
But
right. This is my win
so
con
many
card.
people, yeah, so many people just know, like, oh, to beat Vader, you get rid of the clone combat squadron, and you're probably fine. So yeah, being able to like have a route where you avoid that card could totally just throw off the game plan that someone has playing against you.
Yep, and it removes an obvious target too. So if you're putting all your eggs in a basket on that clone combat, and now your opponent beguiles it or whatever,
Yep.
it feels really bad at that point when it's that big unit. But if you spread things around a little bit, or you don't have it out there, it's not as big of a target. So sometimes people leave things alone that way.
Sure, sure. Well, now we get into some spice. Now we get more spice.
Yeah. So back to the ground again with another speeder, right?
Yep.
The one thing with this, it's a 4/4/4. And when you play it, I generally try to wait later in the round. That way, it got some exhausted units there, maybe something that's been damaged from ambush earlier. And it does 2 damage to a ground unit, so it also can take something out at the same time as when it's being played.
Nice.
And depending on the hand, a lot of times that is one though that I will sideboard out as kind of some of my first choice to some of my sideboard options too, depending on what's going on.
Gotcha.
Then we move into a lot more of some upgrades events here. Haymaker. Haymaker is a good card, especially with this deck because I'm ground and space. So I can put an experience on and kill something in the same arena. So if you're all space or your opponent's ground, Haymaker's kind of a wasted card in your hand. But this gives some flexibility. That's why I've got 3 of those in here.
Yeah, this is a card that I'm like super high up on right now. I think this card's incredible. Like for what it does for I mean the ground decks obviously too, but I think it's more so a space deck card because what does Vader have really tough matchups into? Boba and Luke, right? But
Yep.
what card is amazing when you could just nuke their space unit and grow yours? Haymaker. Like that's huge. And I don't see a lot of Vaders playing this, and I feel like I would be with you that this would be like a mandatory 3 of in my Vader deck if I was playing it.
Yep, and the neat, you play Boba Country. I mean, one of the ways to help neutralize that deck and survive is keep the ships off the board.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let them do whatever they want on the ground for the most part, but keep the ships off the board so Boba doesn't come out there and just start that nuke train that he creates.
Yep. Yep. And then your next card probably also really helps you with Boba in the main deck.
And I only have 2 of them in here. It's Commandeer, because you're generally not going to commandeer something really small. So it's really just grabbing one, holding on to it, so you can play it later in the game. So when you have 5 resources, something like that, it's kind of situational that way. And the one thing that happens with the Vader deck, as is the way I play it, and you start extending the game beyond the Vader flip at 6, is Beguile and Commandeer somewhat become useless because the bigger units are coming out and you can't do anything with them because they cost more than 6.
Correct.
In that case. So and then the other staple, the next one is Craving Power. I mean, it's just the replacement for Overwhelming Barrage. And you don't go anywhere in this deck without Craving Power.
Yeah.
So and then watch this. This is the other fun one from the Hoth set, which you can bounce a card and exhaust an opponent's arena. So really good, strong card to if you're playing opposite arenas, you can do some work with that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then the last one is the Shadow Crawler. This one, the way I describe this is my replacement from Maul from Shadows. Ambush in, it goes in as a 6/7. If luck is really on your side, maybe you can get it out on the Vader flip turn and put it out there. But you can't put Vader on it when you're ambushing, obviously. But I have managed to get Vader on it once or twice. The trick there is you just don't flip Vader at 6, you flip him on 7. If you get the Shadow out early, again, creates a big monster.
Or you can create that token and then save it for that, and then on 6 resources flip onto it. Should be really cool too.
Yep. With you create the credit. Yep. So.
Awesome. Well, yeah, the main deck is super spicy. I know there's a couple cards that I'm sure, some Vader players would be like, oh my gosh, how are you not playing this card? What do you feel on like Garindin and the Chancellor Palpatine? I know those are the other 2 plot cards that Vaders a lot of them are running right now.
Yeah, I used to play Palpatine a bunch in there, and here's what it came down to. On the Vader flip, if you've got it in plot, yes, it can stop a lot of stuff because you're creating the Sentinels. But outside that, it's maybe a turn 1 play, but it's just a 2/2. It just doesn't feel like it does a lot for me that way. Playing it later in the game, unless you got Vader out, it really just isn't there. The other thing I've gotten used to with Vader, everybody targets to remove Vader, through upgrade, hate, whatever. So as soon as he's gone, so generally if I get a swing out of Vader off of a ship, 1, I'm happy. If I get more than 1, that's just bonus. So that's why I don't play Palpatine, just because of that. It's not that it's a bad card. It's just my play style. It just doesn't work in the deck as well for me.
Gotcha. Well, I think we could say the true spice comes from the sideboard, because there's like 2 cards that I never even seen before, and then 2 other cards, one of which that I may have, industry planted the idea and said one day at locals, but definitely a spicy sideboard. So let's start off with Focus Fire. That's the name of the card. I don't even know.
Yep. Yeah, so that one's literally because you got a big board. So say a Liberty's on board with your opponent, and you've got 5-6 units. You essentially get to choose Liberty, and when you play this card, all your units combined power in that one arena can do damage to that unit with that combined power. So it is a way to remove something big if you need to. It's in the sideboard, just kind of situational from that standpoint for me, because generally I want to go fast. Hopefully I'm not running into big stuff by then, and the game is done. But so that's what that one is. Crucible is actually one, if I really want to try and speed up the game a little bit, it seems kind of weird as a 6-drop. Again, if I can create a token or a credit token, so now I can play it on 5 resources, and now I drop an experience token on every one of my units on the board when I play it. And then potentially you can slam it into something on the other side, kill it, and add another experience token. Or if you get really lucky, because I only have 2 of them, and you pull 2 of them in hand, you play the second one to kill the first one, and now you're adding experience on all
Nice.
units.
Wow. Yeah.
So, then the next one there is Double Cross. This is the one you were alluding to your advice.
It is.
When we were playing and you had a Bo-Katan, that would be the card to play. So Double Cross is literally switching units and giving you credits for the difference in cost. And I haven't actually used it yet since we put it in there, but I have put it in, sideboarded it in a few times. It just the opportunity hasn't come up. So
Yeah. Yeah, I know that was like the one when we were playing, and I was like, what can I just get blown out of the water by right now? Would Bill be playing Double Cross? As you all can see, he totally would, based upon the cards that he chooses to build his decks with. And so I was very hardly thinking if I could ever be punished by this card. And yeah, made his way into the deck after that.
Yep. Tear the Ship Apart. So this card is interesting in a couple different ways. One is obviously you play it, you search your opponent's resource row, and you can pick a unit to play for free. So if you can grab a Liberty, so, a Devastator, things like that, and drop it on the board, it's pretty awesome from that standpoint.
Yeah.
The other thing that it does is the first time it comes out, after that, people start thinking about what they're resourcing. And I've had more than one person say that changes how they resource a little bit. So it may change the gameplay a little bit for your opponent as well with that one.
Nice. Yeah, the mind games.
Correct. Yep.
Nice.
And then the last one is Let's Talk. Again, it's easy to kill a TIE fighter to allow you to play this card for 6. And then it allows you to capture your
Capture the whole board.
enemy units. Yep. Well, assuming you've got units on both sides, it can only capture from arena to arena. But you can certainly, if you've got some ground and space, you could capture a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah. Good thing your deck is close to 50-50 though.
Yeah.
So you really can capture the whole board.
Yeah, it works out that way. My pod racers will capture ground guys.
Yeah.
TIE fighters capture space.
Exactly.
Now, Bill, the other thing with my deck, you'll notice if you do the count, there's actually 52 cards.
I was just gonna say, you're not running the typical 50. You're running the 52. Are you comfortable with the 52? Do you feel like you want to cut down to 50, or where are you at with that?
I'm okay with it where it's at, especially with this deck, because if you look at the turn 1 drops, there's lots of them out there.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily an issue. And those extra 2 cards, that's the 2 Commandeers or 2 Beguiles or whatever extra into the deck.
Right.
Nice. Well, heck of a run, and we're happy to see the points on the board. I know all of us were pretty hyped once you came up after each round. You're like, yeah, no, I'm still undefeated. I'm still kicking butt with Vader. I don't even know if there was that many Vaders. I know there was one more that I played that was doing pretty well, but I didn't see a lot there on Saturday.
Yeah, I only seen that same one that I think you seen, because after I think it was the second round, we were sitting next to each other in one of the back tables, and after that round, then we were both up on those front leader tables, as it were, playing, and she was doing pretty well with it. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
Bill, one last question here. Just how do you feel about Vader in the meta right now? I know it's been a controversial thing. People think that it might not be best in the meta. I think with the amount of Obi-Wans that are kind of showing up at these events, Vader might be a great pick into it, obviously counterplaying the Obi-Wans. How do you feel about Vader right now into the meta? I know you had kind of a very wide spread of opponents that you played against. So
yeah, overall, like the Chewbacca deck, I think this deck holds up okay there. I think that was probably more of a 50-50 that way, depending on who's piloting each deck, right? But the Landos and the Bobas, those are tougher matches and matchups for this deck. So if you're looking to pick a deck that's close to meta, this probably isn't it. But it's still a lot of fun. Like you said earlier, I've been playing it for a long time. I'm not one that's creating tons of decks and trying out tons of different things. I'm trying to stick with one thing and learn it well,
Yeah.
and hopefully play it well.
Well, you certainly did.
Well, and I had a lot of support. You guys are, the weeklies that we play and things like that. There's a lot of good players that we play against in our team and group, and it definitely helps as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a super fun event. Again, congrats on getting on the leaderboard. Maybe even if it is at the end of kind of the season right before Galactics, that just means next season it's going to happen even sooner, right?
There you go.
Maybe even see you at Galactics next year. Who knows? But super cool to see Vader, and nonetheless the spiciest Vader probably that is out there right now.
Oh yeah.
Make it in the cut. Any closing thoughts on the deck? Anything you'd crazy want to change, or you're still gonna jam it? It's not turned you off losing the Lando country.
No, actually, it's more of the opposite. It's trying to find a little answer here or there that can help compete with it. I mean, those decks, I can put some damage on them. It's just turning that corner to slow them down. So things like Arrest might show up in the future. You know, some things like that could be out there for it as well.
Awesome. Well, yeah. If anyone has any questions or comments for the resident Vader champion, this would be the place to put them. Again, super great run. Congrats again on the top 8 finish and the points and the special top 8 Chewbacca. That'll be the next card that I bet he breaks and puts it into some spicy deck. It's like, oh, you got it. Now you got to use it.
Yep.
So. Awesome. Well, we'll close it out for you here. If you guys have any questions, like I said, throw them down in the comment section. Please leave a like for the video. For Bill, for anyone, for Bill for showing up and having a great day. Have a great rest of the night. Subscribe to the channel. Peace out.
See ya.
Bye.